do a simple bread recipe that's good for all kinds of things. It's good for bread loaves, it's good for rolls, it's good for cinnamon rolls, it's good for breadsticks, scones, whatever you want to do. This is a basic bread. And all it takes is flour, oil, sugar, water, and salt, and yeast.
I'm going to show you the recipe. This is for 6 loaves.
Okay, let's start with 3 cups warm water. This is half the recipe. Now we're going to put in 1½ tablespoons of yeast. This is regular yeast. And then let's try a 1/4 cup of sugar. Sugar doesn't have to be right on. You don't have to have the exact amount of sugar for this recipe. You can put in ½ a cup if you want. If you're making cinnamon rolls, you probably want to. You're just putting in enough sugar to have the yeast work. Yeast feeds on sugar. Okay, we've got 3 cups of water and 1/4 cup of sugar, a little bit more than a 1/4 cup, and a tablespoon and a half of yeast. Now, mix it up a little bit. We're using a bosh, but you can use your KitchenAid. You can do it by hand if you need to. Okay, now we're going to let that sit because we want to make sure that it's active, good yeast. Look at those bubbles. Our yeast is working.
And that was only a few minutes.
That's just a few minutes, huh? You want to have that step in there because if you can see if your yeast is working. And if it's not working, put some more yeast in. Like if your yeast is old, you normally use like twice as much, and it'll work. Okay, now we can add the rest. If you're lucky enough to have one of these Crisco containers, it's really neat because the cap holds 1/2 a cup, and that's what I use for the bread. It's also got the 1/4 mark, so we're going to use 1/4 cup. That's our oil, canola or vegetable oil, any kind of oil.
And then you don't have to dirty measure.
Then it just goes back on and doesn't drip. And we're going to add, normally it's 2 tablespoons for 6 loaves, so we're going to add 1 tablespoon of salt. And let me tell you, one Thanksgiving dinner of all dinners to forget, I forgot the salt.
Did they not taste good?
And you can tell that there's something wrong with the bread if you forget the salt.
I think taste and texture, right?
Taste and texture. Okay, let's whip that up a little. Then we're going to add our flour. And you don't have to sift today's flour. You can if you want to, but you don't have to like we used to sift everything. We're just going to put this flour in. We're going to put, let's see, let's put 1 cup, 2 cups, 3, 4. Okay, let's start with 5 and see what it mixes. Okay, look at that go. Okay. So that was 6 cups. Kind of get it going and see what you need. Now I'm going to slowly pour another one because the dough is not cleaning the sides yet. Keep an eye on the sides of your roll. And when this dough gets all the sides off and clean, you've got enough flour. Close. Come on. Almost there. You see how it's cleaning the sides? Oh, that's nice dough. You know, when we had the flour and sugar and all of this shortage, toilet paper shortage and everything a few months ago, you could buy 5-pound bags of flour. And so at Walmart I was getting some flour and it's $1.22 for a 5-pound bag. Anyway, I thought, let me see, because it looked about right for 6 loaves of bread. And I tried it and it was perfect. Wow. A 5-pound bag of flour is perfect. Wow, the bowl is sparkling clean. Now, we're going to let this mix for another 5 minutes. If you do, then you don't, if you let it mix for like 5 or 6 minutes, then that takes the place of letting your dough rise twice. So we can let this mix for 5 minutes and then come back and see how it's doing. And if you had 6 loaves in there, you'd want to put this lid on. But we only have 3, so it's not too much. But we'll just put this on so that the dough stay warm and let it go for 5 minutes.
On what speed?
I got it on 1. We could go to 2. Let's put it on 2. This was about 7 minutes in the mixer. It's done. Look at that dough.
Looks so nice.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to butter the clean surface here, or you can use one of those sheets of vinyl, or you can, however you like to roll out your dough. I don't put flour because I don't want to make it more stiff. And that's up to you. If it's too sticky when you try and get it out, then use a little bit of flour. You suit yourself how you do your bread. Okay. Look how I cleaned the bowl. Cinch to wash that. Okay. And I don't usually dress up for making rolls, but today's Sunday. And I'm wearing my paparazzi earrings. Okay, that is pretty dough. This is what my mom used to say, you know, you spank it so it'll be good. Looks like one big old giant loaf of bread, and it is. Okay, what we're going to do, this is 3 loaves worth, which is, these are pound loaves. I would guess this weighs 3 pounds about. Okay, we're going to divide it into thirds. And you can have a little scale, one of those little kitchen scales if you want to divide it just right. One. Ooh, that big one in the middle is a little bigger. Well,
That's okay, just make the bread with that one.
that's okay, huh? Now's the fun part. Gonna roll this out into a big circle. Now you can do what you want to with your bread. You can shape it how you want. You can make it into bread loaves. You can
You know what would be good? Pizza dough.
pizza dough. This make great pizza dough. Make deep dish pizza with this in one of these
Yum.
baking sheets, huh? I really use this recipe for everything because I've got it in my head, you know, and I know it's going to be good. Okay, Emily, come do this part.
Okay, great.
Gonna roll this out into a big circle. And this is usually what the kids help with, and my husband.
And if you let your dough sit for a minute, it gets easier to roll. Doesn't it?
Yeah. You know, we could have divided this into 2. It's probably what we should have done, is divided it into 2.
How
Yeah,
big do you want it?
I'd divide it into 2 next time if I was making 3. Okay, a little bit more. Right here. Okay, now get your pizza cutter.
Okay.
Use
I
one
kind of
that's...
want to try to make it more round, like
Okay,
this.
yeah. Yeah.
Take some of these edges off.
Sure.
Okay, that's better. It's not perfect.
This is the kind of cutter I like to use. It's plastic or nylon.
And it
Doesn't hurt your surface.
Yeah.
We're going to go.
do you
Oh,
want
I'm doing
butter
butter?
first?
Okay.
You want to butter it first, then you have that
Ooh,
flaky
making good, huh?
in between each.
Now, we didn't use milk. We used water when we made this. And one of the reasons is because it's just handy, it's warm, and if you use milk, you normally have to scald it. Water works great, tastes just as good, and your bread doesn't mold like it does when you use it. It molds after, you know, a while, but it doesn't mold quickly with water instead. Okay, depending on the size you want these, you can go thirds now, or fourths again. We're going to go thirds, and then we'll have a dozen rolls right here. So a dozen nice-sized rolls for every loaf of bread.
This is my favorite part. You start on the outside and just roll in. And you get a croissant style roll.
We're going to put a little oil in the middle and dip it. Put this side down, because sometimes if you don't, when it rises, it looks like a swan, which is pretty.
Origami rolls.
Origami rolls.
See how fast this goes? You just roll each one up. Some are bigger than others.
This is how Dad does it. I should have him come over and watch.
Whoa!
Ooh, these are nice and buttery. Pretty dough.
That's nice.
Now we're going to let them rise. It takes a couple of hours for them to get up to double size. But if you're in a hurry and can't wait 2 hours, heat the oven up to 200 degrees. Turn it off and put your pans in the oven to proof them. Put them in the oven.
A lot of ovens have a warm setting, so you can just set it to warm. Oh, see how much easier that one is to roll because we let it sit for a minute. Wow.
Right. And we got 12 and is 24 enough? 5, 6, 7 people. But you're on keto, huh?
I'm on keto,
You're on keto.
so I'll only have one
Oh,
instead of 3.
that's it. 3. Okay. So you have one and Nick has one. The rest of us will have 2.
Go ahead.
All right.
And we've got a spiral ham in the electric roaster. That's going to go really well with these rolls, and they will both be done at the same time. So go ahead and watch that video too, so you can put a whole dinner or lunch together.
Much for 2 people.
Look how cute this baby one is.
Oh, well, let's put that one in the middle. Okay, well this is 2 loaves worth. We're going to do it in 1 pan. Okay, let's go back when they're rising.
I'm going to show you how versatile this dough is. You saw the rolls, and now we're going to turn the last third of the dough into a loaf so that we can make toast or sandwiches.
Look at that area. Oh, you'll have sandwiches with a hole in the middle. Oh, nice. Pretty. You know how Bryn does hers? She rolls her dough out and then rolls it up.
We're just gonna, this is a stoneware, Pampered Chef stoneware.
Oh, put my baby in there.
It's
Tuck
bad.
it in. Okay. Let it rise. We set these down. This was a little bit warm because the fire had been on, the fireplace had been on, and this bread came right up. It's been 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'd let the rolls rise a little bit more. They'll be just fine if you put them in now, but I'd let them rise a little bit. But the bread, we better get in.
We've preheated the oven to 350 degrees. And how long does it take to bake? Until it's brown?
It's going to take like 30 minutes. We've been in for about 28 minutes, and it looks really good.
That's beautiful.
That's pretty. You can do a knock on it if it sounds hollow. It's good. Now we're going to go in with the rolls. That's how big they are now. It's on 350, Emily.
Yes.
It's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, there's the rolls out of the oven.
Putting butter on top. You don't have to put butter on top, but just makes them pretty and it tastes so good. Boy, that last 3 minutes really pushed them into doneness. So
Out of that one recipe of bread, we got a big loaf of bread and all these rolls.
Yep.
Here, okay, go.
That's what they look like on the bottom.
Perfect.
Oh, they're light, pretty. It's going to be great.